At first, this presentation was announced as a joint presentation by me and by Johanna Lamp, the painting conservator. But Johanna is unfortunately not with us today because she has a busy exam period in Tallinn Healthcare College, because in 2020, when the war started, or the full-scale invasion started, Johanna joined the Defense League, and currently with the conservation or cleaning the Strozzi painting, the decision grew that she decided to switch the careers and dropped taking care of paintings, and now is dedicating her life to taking care of people. So she studies nursing. So we are very grateful to her for her very delicate work, and also happy for her new choice. But yes, so this talk will be more about from the perspective of art historian. But also, I already said that I'm not very schooled in Italian art, so it's somewhat superficial. But it's more about detective work on tracing the various examples and versions of the composition. But I also try to refer some of the observations that Johanna did in the course of the conservation for the painting. So we started in 2020, when during the COVID, the museum was it in 2020? Yes, the museum was closed, and it was possible to take down from the permanent exhibition some of the works, and to pay some more attention to the work. Usually what we do here at the museum when we take these demanding works to the conservation, that we try to connect it with some kind of exhibition project, or like to dedicate a bit more time to investigate the paintings. And we at first had in mind to make a small case study exhibition that would focus on the genesis of the composition, and also the history of the painting, and also the conservation part. But we were encouraged in the museum to think big, and so to make larger exhibition. So, and then eventually it turned into larger Strozzi projects. So, and we were really lucky to get contact with Anna Orlando, and again we have to thank the COVID, because she wasn't that busy at the time, and she had done just a Strozzi exhibition in Genoa, and of course we already heard like Strozzi is like very important figure in her study, so she kindly agreed to collaborate and to come co-curate or guest curator for this exhibition, and we are very thankful for that. So this painting, in fact, it wasn't in very bad condition, so it was in stable condition, but as I said, it is a work of the permanent display, so it had some aesthetic issues more, like the yellowed varnish layer, and also the later retouchings that had become very evident, and it looked like the female character had kind of skin conditions. So this was something that we thought that we could aid to make better. Some notes about the history of the painting. It came to the museum in 1941 from Tartu University. So it was a part of the Liebhardt collection. When Reinhold von Liebhardt left Estonia, he donated a share of his collection to Tartu University. So in 1920s, it was deposited to National Museum that is also in Tartu. But then in 1941, the policy came that where the collections were divided, that Tallinn concentrated more on collecting art and Tartu on collecting ethnographical material. And then the switch was done and the painting was given over to Art Museum. So in Liebhardt collection, it was a Spanish school work and also credited as possible work by Diego Velázquez. So to us, it came as an unknown master. And it was in 1953 when there was an exhibition on realist art of the Western European nations that was held here in Kadriorg, where this painting was exhibited as a work by Bernardo Strozzi. So it was probably attributed by the colleagues at the Hermitage Museum, who also collaborated to this exhibition. And you see the view of the exhibition on the left side, and on the right side there is a very unique image, because there are of course several images of the Raadi manor house and the interior of the manor house and its painting gallery, but there is the only image that shows this side of the wall where you can actually where the Strozzi painting is present. You don't see it, maybe it's a bad scan, but I indicate it here, so it's there on the upper right. So there is a sleeve evident if you look and if you know the composition. So it's from the 1890s. We were aware of the Detroit version, of course, and I already in the introduction mentioned that usually or traditionally here in the museum it has been considered or compared with the Detroit painting always, and so it has been guessed that the Detroit painting is a Strozzi, and it's also a more known work and more widely published, and it's published as a Bernardo Strozzi, and then there is our version of it. And so before we started, when we started to look into the life of this painting and the works of Bernardo Strozzi, we had only one small catalogue in our library. It was a 1967 exhibition catalogue from New York, so it's a not very comprehensive. And but this was what we had. And my task was to trace as many versions as possible. So so there are plenty of them. There are, of course, more. There are two catalogue raisonnés on Bernardo Strozzi. One is by Luisa Mortari, already from 1960s, and the other one is by Camillo Manzitti, was it? And so they are comprehensive, but as Anna has showed already in this exhibition, that they are not complete at all. So, but they count about 10 versions of that composition. But what they, both of them never have pointed out, that there are actually slightly different versions of the composition. So I kind of grouped them like Group A and Group B. So our painting in Tallinn is in Group B, and Detroit also. And then the Group A paintings, we know much more examples. There are some exhibited here and here on the screen, but also the Palermo version is included to the exhibition. When we discussed these compositions and what we had images. We didn't have the luxury to have all the paintings side by side and to really compare them in real life. But when we discussed them with Anna, and then Anna thought that from Group A, to her eye, the Toronto painting, which is the now Ontario Art Gallery, and formerly like a Schönborn, belonged to the Count Schönborn in Bommersfelden, looked like the most Strozzi-esque or painting. Regards the painting in Sibiu, is it pronounced? I don't know. In the Brukenthal Museum, this looks like a bit later copy, maybe, at least it's my guess, or maybe somewhat educated guess based on the aesthetics of the female face. But this again proves the popularity of the composition. So from the B group, the most Strozzi-esque appears to be the San Francisco painting, but this is known to me only based on black and white image, and also not very good quality image. Something has happened to the painting, so it was bought to the Crest collection in 1953, and then the same year deposited to the museum. Well, I'm not telling you the name of the museum, Young Museum in San Francisco, or yes, yeah, the Young Museum in San Francisco. And also the Mortari catalog mentions that it has been badly damaged in 1956 fire. So when I contacted the curator, she had no recollection of the painting at all. So they didn't know what has happened to it. So we just assumed that maybe it had been excluded from the collection as in damaged condition. So there are many more versions, and just to show that sometimes the quality really differs. And but what is one thing, that they tend to have the same size, for example. And this was also, I think, rather informative. And it made us think that this is likely kind of workshop exercise work, as you suggested, that the master probably he did the composition, or there was a prototype, and the other assistants or collaborators or pupils, they studied the technique of the painter, and this is how it worked, and he instructed the work, and also corrected and made his finishing touches. As if you have time, I recommend you to watch the film in our exhibition. Anna explains it very well. They are like hunting the brush stroke of Strozzi in our painting in 29 minutes. So it's really like a slow watching. And this was also, I think, a very valuable information if to think how these compositions were made, or what kind of prototypes were used. This is a canvas of a head of a girl that was on Sotheby's sale, I think, in 1989. So unfortunately, I was not didn't succeed to trace it down, because they only had archives like for recent years and not for that old lots. But if you look the image on the right, it is visible that there is the grid pattern, so it was possible to make a really exact copies and to enlarge it and to make it look good. So. And this is by Bernardo Strozzi. And just to show you some faces, to really demonstrate that there are different hands, and if you look them closely, they differ from Strozzi's natural way of painting. Again, on the right is the Toronto version, or the Schönborn version, which maybe is the most Strozzi-esque, but is it like a Strozzi, or is it like enough Strozzi? So this is again kind of question. Again, in preparing for the exhibition and for the essay in the catalog, this was also a nice discovery. I found it in internet. It's always useful to Google, and it was a art detective blog, and the painting is at the Huddersfield Art Gallery, but it came to the museum as by Johannes Verspronk. So it had a old inscription on the back, and it is in the museum database now as a Flemish painting. But there was a post from 2014 already where someone suggested that it might be a painting by Bernardo Strozzi. And interesting is that this work hasn't been published, and wasn't known for Strozzi experts. So Anna was also very interested about the painting. We didn't have the time to go and see the painting, but we asked it for the exhibition, and they kindly gave it to us. We took it with the attribution with a question mark. But when it was unpacked, then Anna was pretty sure that this is by Bernardo Strozzi. But is it as a prototype to use as an aiding material at the workshop, or is it more like a painting that is painted after a successful composition or the figure that some collectors liked? This is, well, has to be figured out, or, well, we don't know for sure. And this is, I don't know if you see it, but it's the left side, my apologies, it's this is taken with my phone in Vilanov, but in Vilanov, the taking images, it was a bit like a clandestine event. So that's why they are not very good images. But what I wanted to show, maybe to add something for Anna's hypothesis that these works were like exercise work to learn the technique of the master. And of course, this one of the characteristics of Strozzi is like this quick painting and the visible brush strokes. And here you see on the right is the Palermo painting, where these short incised lines are made, and some of the lines are done with the back of the brush. And so the Vilanov shows also like it's like very scribbly and looks very amateur-like to my eye. But anyway, it's done into wet paint, so it's part of the original and intentional, and probably this was to make this kind of signature, like to make it look like very, very Strozzi indeed. About some of the observations I promised to add. How many minutes I have? Already late. Then I will be very quick. So because I cannot go into detail, but I just show you the images. That as I said, the condition was stable, but there were aesthetic issues, and you see in UV light that the painting was covered by various layers of additional varnish layers, and also it had retouchings, several, and especially the lady was the more damaged part. And you can see here also, although the hand on the left you see is already like cleaned from these later overpaintings, and so it's not that effective anymore. And here is the face of the lady. And also the colors of the painting have changed in the course of time, so it looks more monochrome than it was originally. We didn't have the possibility to make too many analyses, but for example, for this grayish-green sleeve, Johanna made this microscopic analysis, and it's evident there that you still see these greenish particles in there. And the XRF analysis showed that it was a copper content, so it's probably some verdigris green. So it likely was a bit more similar to the Detroit in its color scheme. And this was also done the cross-section of the paint layer, and where it's seen that the grounding is reddish grounding, so what is more typical to the Venetian period. And this was also that when we started to work with the painting, I think the hypothesis was that maybe it's from the Genoese period, but in the course of the project, and also, of course, when to compare with the other works and then maybe the nudity of the paintings, so it's more likely to fit into Venice. And then I think this analysis, and as you said, kind of proves that. Well, I skipped this one, but maybe I erased some of the slides, and but as you said about the twill weave, then also this painting is on twill weave. So, and well, this was something also what we discovered, but we didn't have much comparative material to kind of interpret it, what it could mean. So there are reasons why this lady looks so dramatic now. So it's and why she is so pale. One of the very reasonable explanation is that in the course of time there have been previous restorations, and the paste has been overcleaned. But also the second suggestion by Johanna was that perhaps the madder lake was used on the cheeks, and in the conditions not so good, and where there is extensive exposure to light, this pigment also tends to fade. So as she is very delicate conservator, nothing was added. So this is that's why she is pale. I think that's all from me. So. Of course, it would have been nice to have a comparative study of originals together, but this is what we could do. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Thank you.